Good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon.
And we are pleased. You are absorbing information at a very rapid rate. This is a good sign, not just for you, of course, personally it's great, but it is a good sign that at this stage of the energetic development that you represent humanity and that you are not fighting information off or arguing or going into all kinds of personal things. You are like sponges, you are taking it in. And sometimes, remember, you can take too much in. And so that's when you might want to do something of relaxation, rest, put things aside, dream upon them, draw things out. You know, there are many things that brew themselves in the back garden, in the onion potato fields. And sometimes the way you can get that information is by sometimes writing things out with the non-dominant hand. So you can ask a question, for example, pose it to yourself with the idea that the inner self knows things that the ego does not, P does not. And so you can write things out with the non-dominant hand. You can draw. This is even more fun. Get yourself some pad of paper and some sort of medium that feels fun to you. It can be colored pencils, pen and ink, chalk if you want to, paints. And it would be wonderful for all of you, whether you think you are artistic or not, to let what is inside be expressed. Just let that doodling come out. You will be surprised afterwards the level of creativity that then will follow. So these are small little things, but put into practice, they add up to a lifestyle that is a little quirky, yes, for certain, but it also is very life-affirming, life-supporting, and life-enhancing. Our work is to entice you along, but eventually you will be self-referring. Eventually, what you want to know, either you will intuit it from the inside, or somehow in the outside world you will draw to yourself exactly what you are looking for. This summer, the energy will follow what you focus on to an extraordinary level. All right, questions, please.
Please?
Yes.
This is Suzanne.
Suzanne, welcome, and thank you so much for pulling this little Hukailau together.
Thank you. I'm glad it came together. Thank all of you.
It always does.
Yesterday, you happened to talk about Nikolai Tesla imprinting Colorado Springs.
He did experiments someplace up there in the mountains, and he was pulling down lots of electronic energy,
right,
lightning and things of this nature.
Well, that got me thinking, or as you would say, wondering, because I've always wondered why the nanosecond is happening here. What significance is it here?
What do you mean here?
On Earth.
Why not?
Well, what I was wondering was, you said that this is the living library.
Yes.
And that there's DNA from all over the galaxy, or whatever you want to say.
Even beyond the galaxy, beings have contributed their expertise to blend DNA, which carries codes for life, and to make functional, beautiful, beneficial, eco-fitting life forms. One thing about your system is that everything is independent, interdependent, and interactive. One thing flourishes on another. So this in itself is remarkable.
Mm-hmm. Well, from that point of view, I was thinking that if this planet was activated...
What do you mean activated?
Well, in the nanosecond. In other words, if we lit up, if we reached our high potential...
If you started vibrating with higher consciousness?
Right.
All right.
That because we've got the DNA and the material from all over, that DNA and material would almost be like a conduit, totally throughout space.
Vibing all over to everything that it is connected to, yes?
And with that, I thought, why would, for example, they not want us to know about the ETs? And why would they not want us to know about the giants?
They, in reference to global secret leaders, yes.
Whoever is suppressing us. And I thought, if the planet was, if we saw that information, the planet is almost naturally galactically oriented because of all of the DNA from all over, and that it would have triggered us before to reach a higher consciousness or to start figuring out things out, like you were talking about the Tower of Babel and people going up to the mountains where the gods were, and the gods were saying, well, we don't want them here. So I was sort of wondering if that's part of what all the suppression is.
Part of what the suppression is? We're not following you. We're not following your conclusions.
The suppression would be for us not to open to galactic consciousness, because that's really very, very deep in who we are, because we've got the DNA from the galaxy.
Are you saying it's because we would then influence much more?
No, it's because we would claim our power. We would be so incredibly powerful.
Of course, that's what we've been maintaining
Right.
all along. So what is your wondering? We don't understand what your discovery is. You are repeating pretty much what we have been teaching you.
Well, my discovery is why they would do that.
Why? Who would do what?
Why
Speak
the
with greater
global
clarity.
elite or the Illuminati or whoever it is that hides things from us, that manipulates us, that off-planet energies who want to keep us relegated to fear and subservience, do not want us to claim that, because
It's freedom for us.
well, not only that, but that's who we are. That's really who we are. And it would be, that's where we need to go. And it should have been a lot easier. But over the centuries, every time a sensitive point came up, when we could do that, somehow it was suppressed.
Suzanne, let us make a point very clear to you.
Okay.
And that is that this nanosecond that you are in is extraordinarily rare. Once every 26,000 years, you would, of course, be in a precessional cycle, and your sun would align with the galactic center. Once every 26,000 years. But there are cycles within cycles and larger cycles. And this is not just about the sun aligning with the galactic center. This is much, much more. If it happened once every 26,000 years, it would be a big deal, but not so massive. The other point is that your planet has been infused with large, large numbers of people. You have, at this point, reached a state of technological advancement. And, you know, not every culture is going to develop in the same way. We implied a long, long time ago that a nanosecond is extraordinarily rare. This is why beings from all over are drawn to your world. Just to be in proximity of this energy can really open things up and change things. So there are always some who do not want change. Change, let's say, disrupts the status quo, and it shuffles the cards of power. And yet opposition, it makes you grow. The forces that it looks like want to control you are actually playing parts in a drama just as you are. And you come in to create these situations, to have some sort of exhilaration and purpose to life. So believe us when we say this is a rare, rare time. The heavens do operate in cycles. Sometimes the cycles are small cycles. In your terms, the moon moving around the zodiac in 29 days. A big cycle in your terms is a great year, 26,000 years approximately. But then a number of great years may make up a larger cycle, and then a number of those larger cycles make up larger cycles, and things align in different fashion.